Hi guys, good day to everyone. We are now down to the next part of our research manuscript, which is yung tinatawag natin na validation of instrument. So after nating magawa yung research instrument section ng ating manuscript, ang sunod na naman natin gagawin is yung validation of instrument section na kung saan ilalagay natin or inanarate natin paano natin ma-assure yung validity and reliability ng ating gagawing research instrument na ninarate natin doon sa research instrument part ng ating manuscript. So to start our discussion, allow me to share my screen to you. Okay, there you go. So I have here four basic steps that we have to follow para sa paggagawa ng ating validation of research instrument. Take note, ang itinuturo sa inyo ng Sir Joel dito is yung mga sections. Ano yung mga information na kailangan nating ilagay sa bawat sections ng manuscript natin. I have a separate video discussion kung paano yung actual na paggagawa ng research instrument at kung paano din yung actual na validation process na ginagawa ng mga validator. Dito sa video na to, it is a different video. Ang ipinapakita lang sa inyo dito ng Sir Joanne is how we should compose or make every section of our manuscript. Ano yung mga important information na kailangan nating ilagay. So for the validation of research instrument, the first step that we have to do is yung tinatawag natin na selection of validators. Kailangan makapag-identify tayo ng mga qualified individuals na pwedeng mag-evaluate ng ating ginawang research instrument. Take note, kailangan yung mga qualified individuals na kukuhanin natin to evaluate our research instruments should align with the nature of our study. Halimbawa, ang pinag-aaralan mo is may kinalaman sa field of business, tapos ang kukuhanin mong validator ay psychologist. So medyo merong misalignment when it comes to the validators that you will put down on the validation part of your research paper. So kailangan yung mga experts or yung mga validators na ilalagay natin sa paper natin should have the knowledge regarding dun sa pinag-aaralan natin na problem. So kanina, ang pinakitang sample sa inyo ng Sir Joanne is may kinalaman sa papaano yung mga online learning tools maaaring makaapekto sa level of engagement ng ating mga grade 3 to 6 pupils. So pwede tayong kumuha, pwede tayong magpa-validate sa mga educational psychologists as well as sa mga experienced primary teachers who have relevant expertise doon sa ating pinag-aaralan. Okay po? Then after that, halimbawa, nalagay na natin kung sino yung mga validators natin. Take note ha, hindi natin kailangang pangalanan kung sino yung mga validators natin for the data privacy concept or for the Data Privacy Act. Ang kailangan lang nating ilagay dito is yung kanilang credentials, yung kanilang qualifications, bakit sila yung napili natin or bakit sila yung nag-qualify na maging validators natin sa ating research instrument. Then after that, ang kailangan na nating ilagay is that what will be the type of validation na gagawin sa ating instrument. Isa to sa laging tinatanong ng mga panelists during defense. What is the type of validation that your validators did on your research instrument? And kapag sinabi nating type of validations, marami yan. Pwedeng content validation, pwedeng construct validation, pwedeng phase validation, pwedeng pilot testing, and pwedeng reliability testing. So maraming paraan ang pwedeng gamitin or pwedeng gawin ng ating validators depende na sa kanilang line of expertise or sa kung ano yung pangangailangan ng ating research instrument. Usually, for example, no, kapag ako ang nagba-validate ng research instrument, ang lagi kong ginagawang type of validation is yung content validation, construct validation, and phase validation. Tapos, ang pilot testing, pinagagawa ko to sa mga bata right after kong ma-check yung kanilang research instrument or right after mag-undergo ng kanilang research instrument sa content, construct, and phase validation. Okay, so usually yun yung mga type of validation na nilalagay ko or ginagawa ko uh, sa aking mga bina-validate na research instrument. So for our researchers here, if you are planning, for example, na magkaroon na or humanap na ng validator sa paper ninyo, ang kailangan ninyong ipakita sa mga validators ninyo is yung inyong introduction, research paradigm, statement of the problem, tapos yung research methodology, and the research instrument. Okay? Para malaman ng validators ninyo kung ano yung type of validation na gagawin niya sa paper ninyo. Okay? And para malaman nyo din kung anong type of validation ang ilalagay ninyo on this particular part of your paper. Okay? Kasi hindi pwedeng manghuhula kayo kung ano yung type of validation ang ilalagay nyo dyan. Yung type of validation, manggagaling ito sa validators na nag-validate ng inyong research instrument. Pero may mga instances na ang mga researchers ang nagre-request sa mga validators ng type of validation na kailangan gawin sa paper nila. For example, in our case, dito sa school namin, I'm always telling my students na pag nagpa-validate kayo ng instrument, you have to make sure or kailangan i-request ninyo sa inyong mga validator na ang type of validation na gagawin ay content and phase validation. O di kaya naman construct and phase validation or content construct validation. So minsan may mga ganun kaming instances na yung research teacher na o yung research consultant na ang nagsasabi or nagre-request ng type of validation na ipagagawa doon sa mga napili nilang validators. And right after na matapos yung uh, step na yon, ang sunod na ninyong kailangang ilagay is yung naging resulta ng inyong pretesting or what will be your plan for your pretesting kung hindi pa man ito nagagawa. So usually dito, ang pinalalagay namin sa mga researchers namin is that, for example, meron kayo 150 na respondents na magpa-participate sa paper ninyo. So hanap kayo ng at least uh, 10 non-respondents na pwedeng mag-participate sa inyong pre-testing para makita natin yung reliability ng inyong research instrument. Then after that, kung ano yung magiging result ng inyong pre-testing, kailangan nyo siyang i-insert doon sa validation process ng paper ninyo. And then, nakanarate din doon kung ano ba yung naging result na ang statistician or ng statistical treatment na ginawa ng kanilang statistician doon sa kanilang pre-testing para at least kahit paano ma-intensify yung uh, reliability ng kanilang ginawang research instrument. Okay? In some cases, ito ay last na inilalagay ng mga researchers kasi usually ito ay nangyayari right after ng proposal defense. Halimbawa, nakapag-proposal defense na kayo, then na-approve na yung inyong chapters 1 to 3. Ang sunod niya nang gagawin dyan is magagawa na kayo ng research instrument, diba? Tapos yung research instrument ninyo, ipapa-validate. Pag napa-validate, ipapa-pretesting. So yung magiging resulta ng pretesting, i-insert nyo na lang siya as last part ng inyong validation process. Okay po? So minsan, in our case, kapag hindi pa nakakapag-proposal defense ang mga bata, nandun pa lang sila sa talagang writing ng kanilang manuscript, wala pang proposal defense, ang nakalagay lang sa kanilang chapter number 3 na manuscript is yung selection of validation, selection of validators and type of validation. Yung resulta ng pretesting, late na namin itong inilalagay kapag natapos na yung kanilang pre-testing process. Okay po, kasi hindi ka naman pwedeng pag-pre-testing nang hindi pa approve or hindi pa tapos ang inyong proposal defense. Baka kasi nakapag-pre-testing kayo tapos biglang ire-reject ng inyong panelists yung SOP ninyo, mali yung ginawa ninyong instrument, so sayang lamang yung effort. Kaya usually, ito ay ini-insert na lang namin right after na ang pre-testing talaga or ng actual na pre-testing. Then after that, kapag lumabas na yung resulta ng ating pre-testing, obviously, kailangan na natin i-finalize yung ating research instrument. Kapag lumabas doon sa pre-testing natin na accepted or excellent yung ginawa nating research instrument, So for good na yung ating tools, pwede na tayong mag-gather ng data. Pero kapag lumabas doon sa pre-testing natin na rejected or not accepted yung ginawa nating research instrument, kailangan nating i-adjust, kailangan nating i-edit yung ating tools na ginawa o yung instrument na ginawa natin. Okay? Hypothetical, for example, uh, tapos na kayong mag-proposal defense, nagawa nyo na yung inyong pre-testing. Paano nyo siya ipepresent sa inyong manuscript? So ganito yung magiging itsura niya. Excuse me for that. So let's have sample number 1. Itong sample number 1 na to, assuming natapos na yung kanilang proposal defense, approve na yung kanilang chapters 1 to 3, nakapag pre-testing na din sila. Okay? Paano nila ginawa yung validation of their research instrument? So nakalagay dito, qualified professionals, sino yung qualified professionals na yon, including educational psychologists, and experienced primary teachers evaluated the instrument. So, nakalagay dyan kung sino yung nag-evaluate. Ano yung ginawang validation? Content analysis of the questionnaire was done to ensure the clarity and relevance of the research instrument, particularly yung may kinalaman sa online platforms used by the students. So after daw gawin yung content analysis, nagbigay daw ng recommendation ang kanilang validators regarding adding additional questions about online platforms being used by the students. Then after that, ano yung naging resulta ng kanilang pre-testing? Pre-tests with 20 students from target population identified confusing question prompting further refinement. So nung sila daw ay nagkaroon ng pre-testing, lumabas daw na merong ilang parts ng kanilang research instrument ang medyo confusing. So kailangan daw siyang i-revise, kailangan i-refine. So kailangan yung sabihin yon as part of your validation. Pre-test responses were analyzed, yielded a Cronbach alpha of 92. So, statistician ninyo ang gagawa nito, which indicates strong reliability. So, after daw ma-refine yung kanilang research instrument, nag-pretesting ulit sila, inanalyze yung kanilang responses, and nung inanalyze na yung responses, nagkaroon sila ng 0.92 na result, nang ibig sabihin ay strong reliability. And then after that, the instrument was then finalized for the main study, ensuring its effectivity to capture students' experiences and perceptions during online learning. So this is an example of validation of instrument section na tapos hanggang pre-testing. Halimbawa naman, hindi pa kayo nakakapag-pre-testing just for the sake of defense lang. For proposal defense pa lang yung paper ninyo. So ano lamang yung mga important part ng research instrument ang ilalagay. Ang ilalagay nyo lamang dyan ay hanggang dito. Sabihin niyo kung sino yung magbabalidate ng inyong research instrument. They are qualified educational psychologists and experienced primary school teacher. And then, what type of validation na gagawin? They will be conducting content analysis on the questionnaire. Hanggang dito lang. Okay, hanggang dito lang sa part na to ang ilalagay ninyo sa inyong manuscript kung hindi pa kayo nakakapag-pre-testing at for defense pa ang paper ninyo. Okay po? Pero yung part na to, yung may nasa pinaka-ibaba, this one, ito, hanggang dito, hindi pa natin siya ilalagay. Kasi nga, for defense pa and for approval pa yung paper niyo. On the other hand, kapag yan naman ay na-approve na, halimbawa, all goods na yung inyong research instrument, ay di ilalagay nyo na sila lahat. You have to insert the result of your pretest. Okay po, so meron tayong dalawang steps. Kapag hindi pa tapos ang proposal defense, hanggang doon lamang tayo sa type of validation. And kapag natapos na yung ating proposal defense, nakapagpa-validate na tayo ng ating instrument, yung ating actual instrument na pa-validate na natin, and at the same time, tapos na tayong mag-pre-testing, binigyan na tayo ng go signal ng ating teacher for pre-testing, i-insert nyo na doon sa validation part ng paper ninyo yung naging resulta ng inyong pre-testing, whether it is acceptable or not. Okay? So let's have another sample here. Let's have sample number 2. Okay. The validation of instrument was carried out by qualified professionals. Sino yung mga qualified professionals na yon? Uh, Nag-hire sila ng market research analysts and experienced retail consultant. And then, anong type of validation ang ginawa? Nag-conduct sila ng content analysis doon sa self-designed questionnaire na ginawa ng mga researchers. And then, noong ginawa daw, yung, or after matapos, yung validation, nagbigay ng feedback and recommendation yung kanilang validators for additional questions which focus on customer interaction with specific retail platforms that enhanced the questionnaires comprehensiveness. So nilagay nila dito kung ano yung naging comment ng kanilang validator after na ito ay ma-validate. Then, based naman sa resulta ng kanilang pre-testing, humanap sila ng 30 customer na pwedeng maging respondents ng kanilang pre-testing. Take note, yung grupo ng mga respondents or non-respondents na sasagot sa pre-testing ninyo ay ibang grupo doon sa inyong actual na respondents sa paper. Yung kukuhanin ninyong bilang ng respondent for pre-testing, sila ay magpa-participate lang sa paper ninyo for the sake of knowing whether the research instrument is reliable or not. Hindi, yung data na makukuha natin sa kanila ay hindi for interpretation of data for chapter number 4. Ang data na makukuha natin sa kanila is for the sake of reliability testing on. Huwag ninyong gagalawin yung first set of respondents ninyo na for data gathering talaga. Huwag nyo silang gagalawin. Sila ay pwede lang magsagot ng ating research instrument kung tapos na ang ating pre-testing at binigyan na tayo ng ating research teacher ng go signal na pwede na tayong mag-data gathering. Okay? Ano yung naging resulta ng kanilang pre-testing? Nakakuha sila ng 0.91 na Cronbach alpha value nang ibig sabihin na strong reliability. Okay? And then nagkaroon lang sila ng ilang refinement sa kanilang instrument after ng kanilang pre-testing. Okay? Balikan natin ulit yung concept kanina. Halimbawa, uh, tayo ay nasa proposal defense pa lang. Okay? Hindi pa approve yung ating chapter number 3, hanggang saan lang yung gagawin natin. Ang gagawin natin ay hanggang dito lamang. Okay? Kung sino yung magba-validate, anong type of validation. Pero itong part na to, yung pagkasabi na nagbigay sila ng feedback and recommendation, yung resulta ng pretesting, hindi pa natin to ilalagay. Ilalagay lang natin ito once ng ating research instrument ay validated na at binigyan na tayo ng approval ng ating teacher for pretesting. Okay po, that's it. So let's have another example. Ito naman ay for qualitative research. So nakalagay dito, sino ang nag-validate ng kanilang research instrument? Educational psychologists and seasoned accounting educator. Okay? Then, anong type of validation ang ginawa? Nag-conduct sila ng semi-structured, nag-conduct sila ng, what do you call this? A content validation. Okay, nagawa sila ng content validation para ma-ensure yung clarity and relevance ng ginawang research instrument. Then after mag-conduct ng content validation, nagbigay ng feedback kung paano pwedeng i-improve yung ginawang research instrument. And then nag-pilot testing, ano yung naging resulta ng pilot testing, then nagkaroon lang ng refinement. Okay? So that's how we compose the validation section of our research instrument. So I hope and I pray our dear researchers that you're able to understand kung paano ba ginagawa yung validation of research instrument section ng ating manuscript. So thank you so much to everyone. Enjoy writing and God bless to you.